Hey, in a world full of mysterious stories, no one would have guessed that Texas farmers could build such an ingenious trap that outsmarted 2 million wild boars. Are you curious to know how they did it? Let's find out right now. Forget what you know about hunting. This isn't just a recreational activity, it's a battle against an enemy that isn't easily defeated and is always finding ways to overcome challenges. In Texas, we're facing a problem I call the wild boar invasion. These are 2.6 million wild boars with incredibly strong survival skills. They not only eat corn, they find gaps in your fences. They can remember the sound of pickup trucks from afar. Every time a hunter misses a boar, it's not just a failure, it's a reminder of the enemy's cunning and intelligence. We're not dealing with ordinary wild boars, but creatures that have learned to survive and become incredibly difficult to defeat. Why have we lost for the past 100 years? Because we've been using brute force against a biological algorithm. A sow can begin its cloning cycle at just 6 months old. If you don't wipe out 70% of the population every year, you're going backward. The old box traps are their school. When a pig sees its companion caught in a trap, its nervous system overrides a permanent warning. Iron and corn mean danger easy. They become trap smart. This is why traditional methods only make the problem worse. We need a solution that leaves no witnesses. My strategy was simple: invisibility and absolute control. I turned 2,000 acres into a neural network with a high-resolution cellular camera system. I completely withdrew from the scene. No sweat smell, no car door slamming, no human trace. I sat in the command room, miles away, and monitored the enemy's operation log. I didn't predict, I collected data. I knew what time the lead sow inspected the area. I counted each pregnant sow through thermal imaging. I saw everything, while they believed I had given up. This was information warfare, and for the first time, humans held the code. The real breakthrough wasn't in steel, but in behavioural psychology. I built a giant corral trap, but I called it the party hall. For 14 days, I scattered golden corn and kept the gate wide open. I acted as a free resource provider. I watched through a camera as their vigilance gradually faded. Even the wisest old sow began to believe this was a gift from nature. I wasn't setting a trap, I was building a dangerous habit. I nurtured their complacency until the entire herd, not a single one missing, was completely enclosed within the steel circle. (9:15, 2:45 a.m. All 30 sounder pigs had gathered. This was the decisive moment. I didn't use snares or mechanical springs that the pigs could detect. I used a digital button. My finger glided across the smartphone screen, a delay of less than 500 milliseconds. Clank! The 200-pound door slammed shut. No gunshots, no smoke, no chaotic mess, only absolute annihilation. I had just wiped out an entire lineage in less than half a second. No survivors to remember, no one to teach the next generation. Success rate, 100%. We reduced our losses from $50,000 0 cents to $5,000 0 cents. Not with bigger guns, but with sharper thinking. The enemy was still there, lurking on the border of neighbouring farms. But now we had the blueprint to reclaim our land. If you face an army that cannot be defeated by force, do you have the discipline to defeat them with intelligence? Texas is winning, not with ammunition, but with ruthless patience. In recent years, wild boars have moved beyond the forest to the heart of cities, posing a major threat to people and infrastructure. In just a few years, the number of wild boars in Hong Kong has exploded from a mere fringe creature to a menace. From 225 in 2011 to 1,184 in 2019. They are no longer afraid of humans. Garbage and leftover food have turned them into city dwellers. A female can give birth to 6 to 15 piglets at a time, and when food is readily available, they breed out of control. People continue to raise them, unaware that this only accelerates the urbanization of the invasive species. The government has had to impose a strict ban with fines of up to $1,275 0 cents for violators. But is that enough to stop this invasive species? When traditional defences are no longer effective, hunters are forced to find smarter ways to deal with them. The process begins deep in the forest, where hunters carefully set up net traps. An automated corn spreader programmed to release food at the same time every day is placed in the centre. The wild boars are habituated to return to the same feeding spot every day, following a routine they believe to be safe. When the herd regroups and begins feeding, the traps are triggered. There is no gunfire, no dangerous chasers, and no undue stress to the invasive species. Studies have shown that when wild boars are caught with minimal struggle, they are calmer, reducing the risk of injury to the hunter. In previous attempts, areas using net traps have reported a 30 to 40% reduction in agricultural damage from wild boars within a year, demonstrating its potential as a long-term solution. Wild boar hunting in the United States is not just a sport, it's a necessity. With the wild boar population increasing by 20 to 25% annually, wild boars have become one of the country's most destructive invasive species. Tonight, it's not just about hunting, it's about taking back control. Drones with infrared sensors detect wild boar movements from the sky, giving hunters precise locations. Night vision scopes enhance visibility in low light conditions, a necessity since wild boars are most active after sunset. Silenced .308 and .30 blackout rifles ensure a quick, humane knockdown with minimal disruption to surrounding wildlife. To combat the crisis, federal and state governments have relaxed regulations on wild boar hunting, recognising the need for strict controls. In many states, there are no population limits or closed hunting seasons, meaning hunters can hunt as much as they want, whenever they want. Some of the most notable policies include no licensing requirements on private land in states like Texas and Oklahoma, allowing landowners to act immediately, bounty programs in select counties, where hunters receive compensation for each wild boar taken. While hunting is the most effective short-term control method, conservationists emphasise the need for long-term solutions, including better habitat management and sterilisation programs. Some experts argue that wild boar hunting alone is not enough without changing food sources and controlling reproduction. Populations will recover faster than they decline. With millions of wild boars still roaming the United States, the fight is far from over. Is hunting enough to stem the crisis, or will we need stronger measures to protect our lands? What do you think? As someone who has spent years observing and studying wildlife, I am often asked questions about where baboons live and why they are involved in hunting in the United States. The topic of trophy hunting has been quite controversial lately, especially after the incident involving Blake Fisher, a former Idaho wildlife official. His controversial knocking down of a family of chacma baboons in Namibia sparked outrage. This leads to a question I hear repeatedly. Do baboons live in the United States? If not, why do we hear about Americans hunting them? First of all, baboons are not native to the United States or anywhere else in the Americas. These fascinating primates, known for their distinctive drooping faces and social behaviour, are found primarily in Africa. They are well adapted to their environment, eating fruits, insects, and even small animals, often storing food in their cheek pouches. You will not find wild populations of baboons in the United States. Some may wonder if baboons exist in conservation areas in the United States, and they can be found in captivity, but there are no free roaming populations of baboons here. So when people hear about Americans baboon hunting, it is understandable to wonder why this is happening if these animals are not native. The answer lies in the global nature of trophy hunting. The United States plays a major role in the trophy hunting industry, with approximately 800 to 1,000 primates, especially chacma baboons, being knocked down by hunters each year, many of them Americans. However, these hunts do not take place in the United States, but rather in African countries such as Namibia, where baboons are common and in some cases considered pests by landowners. Trophy hunting of baboons is legal under international law and is relatively cheap compared to hunting larger animals such as lions or rhinos. For example, the fee for shooting baboons in Africa can be as little as $60, 0 cents, in places where they are considered a nuisance. In some cases, landowners may even allow hunters to shoot a few for free. Most baboon hunting is not an individual trip. A typical African lowland safari package costs between $3,000, 0 cents, and $7,000, 0 cents, although some budget options start at under $2,000, 0 cents. Baboons are often hunted on these trips indiscriminately, as they are not usually the primary target. This explains why Americans, who make up a large portion of the game hunter population, are often associated with baboon hunting, even though the animals do not live in the United States. Having read up on hunting practices, I can share that hunting baboons in Africa requires specific strategies due to their keen senses and skittish nature. Hunters typically use rifles with calibers ranging from .243 to .300 Winchester Magnum, paired with expanding bullets weighing 100 to 150 grains. A well-placed shot to the upper body is usually enough to take down a baboon, as they're smaller animals compared to other game. What makes baboon hunting challenging is their alertness. Baboons are notorious for their loud alarm calls, which can scare off other game if they spot or hear a hunter. The usual shooting distance is 100 to 150 yards, and hunters often set up in a blind along the baboons' regular paths between their roosts and feeding grounds. These paths are predictable, with baboons travelling out in the morning and returning in the late afternoon. Stalking them is nearly impossible. They'll bolt at the slightest movement or sound, staying just out of range. So, why the confusion about baboons in America? It likely stems from high-profile cases like Fisher's, where an American's involvement in baboon hunting grabs headlines. The outrage over such hunts often overshadows the fact that they're happening in Africa, not the US. Additionally, the accessibility and low cost of baboon hunting make it a common add-on for American trophy hunters traveling abroad. This creates a perception that baboons might be local to the US when in reality, it's the hunters, not the hunted, who are crossing borders.
These approaches have been great at stopping the spread of some invasive species. Got any ideas for even better solutions? Drop your thoughts in the comments so we can all dive into it together. Thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And hey, be sure to tell your friends about us too so they can check it out. Bye and see you in the next video.